Hey guys, today I want to talk about Orphea, the newest hero in Heroes of the Storm. She'll be out next Tuesday, and she is a mage that has a pretty high health pool, a pretty beefy mage. Her damage is pretty good. It's very sustained damage, nothing too bursty, but she does have some bursty combos. She is a mix between physical and magic damage, making her a pretty good fit into just about any team comp, which is pretty nice in general because the way that her passive or her trait works is that she gets bonus physical damage for casting her abilities and landing her abilities on more targets. She's extremely mobile and has a decent amount of sustain, making it possible for her to be a bruiser in the solo lane, also making it possible for her to stay for a long time in team fights. Her downside is the fact that her range is very, very low. If you're in range to attack someone, then Garrosh is in range to flip you or stun you and then flip you. If you're in range to use your abilities, then Diablo's in range to slam you against a wall. So while she does seem like she's a jack of all trades in terms of all of the different things that she can do, she has one major weakness that holds her back because as her main while her longest range ability does have a very, very long range, her main ability's range is just about the range of a Diablo's Q. So in general, she has a lot of things going for her, but she also is very, very risky. But her high health pool allows it to where she can survive a little bit, and then her mobility makes it to where she can usually be pretty slippery and get out. She's going to be someone that you definitely need to combo down against a very good one, because a very good one's going to be moving around the fight very quickly, and it's going to be very, very hard to deal with. So if you're ever going against Orphea, and she's very good, you're going to need to be kind of step it up to deal with her because you're going to need to hit her and then combo CC her. But she'll likely be the target that you're going to be getting a lot of damage off of purely because of her short range. On to what she does, her abilities. She has Overflowing Chaos. When you hit an enemy hero with a basic ability, it grants 1 Chaos. And to kind of show that, we're going to zoom out. I hit an enemy hero with an ability, and let me back up. You can see her chaos by these bubbles here. She can have up to 3, and she does bonus damage, 50% more for the more you hit. If you hit more than one hero with a single ability, you can stack up to all the way up to 3 chaos, and then you can do even more damage, and you heal yourself for all of that auto attack damage. There's some talents along the way that can make chaos turn into something where you're just a monster to deal with. Say, for instance, the combo. I picked specific talents to show you that she's actually, in my opinion, she can be one of the higher skill cap heroes. She's easy to get into because personally her abilities are pretty easy to figure out, and they have pretty low cooldowns, so you can easily throw them out, deal a lot of damage, and keep that up while getting chaos. But there are some really cool combos that I've been trying to practice, things like this one where your Q can bring you inward, your W can send you outward back into the range of your Q, which can bring you inward back to your W. Guys, I don't have toggle cooldowns on. This is a specific build that you can actually do with Orphea that has relatively low cooldowns that can keep sending you in and out of a fight over and over and over. And it's a really cool combo that can do a lot of sustained damage. So that's something that is really capable, that she's capable of doing in a specific build. And I have maybe the wrong build for this too, but either way, she's got a lot of cool things that she can do. So that's where Overflowing Chaos can get a lot because you're constantly going in and out of fights and getting more damage. So you can do very sustained physical damage as well as doing sustained magic damage, making her a pretty good counter to, or a good fit into just about any team comp. Because say they go with a whole bunch of spell armor, you can kind of transition your build to be a little bit more chaos oriented, and you can change it to where it's more based off increasing your auto attack damage, increasing your you can do remove armor when you're attacking people, or at least ignore armor when you're attacking people with that. Get max chaos very quickly. So the level 13, you can make it to where you get max chaos. You're always doing the full crit damage. There's a lot of transitions in her build that can switch her to more physical damage if needed. So I really like that, but we'll get into that later. That's what her chaos does. It is really strong, and it's pretty unique to make sure that you're getting an auto attack off at least every 3 hits. Your Shadow Waltz is going to be your bread and butter. you have a 5-second cooldown on an ability that has a short delay. However, if you hit someone with this ability, it lowers the cooldown to 2 seconds and allows you to dash in the next direction, the next movement command. Meaning if you're chasing someone, you can dash towards them. If you are running away from someone, you can dash away from them. And if you're just not sure in the fight, you can use it just to keep kind of reposition and change to where your next ability might hit more targets. Overall, it is your bread and butter. It is going to be the most powerful tool, and it reminds me a lot of Medivh's Q. It feels great as long as you keep hitting them and keep going through and hitting your Q over and over and over. It really sucks when you miss it or when the enemies move out of the way, because you lose your fastest cooldown ability, your sustained damage. Her next ability is Chomp. It does nothing special. Let me reset my talents. Chomp does nothing special. It is a damage ability that is very, very short range, but it does a ton of damage. In fact, one of the things that I like showing to people is how fast you can clear lanes with different heroes, and Orphea is one of those that you can clear waves pretty quickly with just using an E and a W. Early game, you do need to throw an extra Q, but generally, it's a pretty fast wave clear. I just kind of do this. I walk up, I do a chomp, and boom. There's only 2 minions left, and my minions can clear those up. I might even throw a Q and then mount up as my minions are killing these, and I could easily double soak if I wanted to. So Chomp is a very high damage ability, and there are talents that can either make it go even higher damage, or there are talents that make it with a much lower cooldown. So Chomp is really powerful. It's usually going to be a finisher, or it's going to be an escape, or just something that's extra damage to frontline. As you saw earlier, I did something where I used my Q to get in, and then I chomped to do the extra damage. You could easily do that on your own, and there's a few builds that encourage that. A level 13 talent that you could charge up something and then charge in with that. We'll get into the talents later. Then we have her E, which is Dread. What Dread does is it's a very slow-moving thing that it will sit at a location and then it blows up. When it blows up, it slows the enemies. It does not slow enemies along the path unless you get a talent to do so. Overall, it's a pretty interesting ability that it has some really cool talents. Some of the things that you can get on this, you could go for increasing its damage on its eruption if you hit them with the path. But I actually would recommend against that, because if you're going to go E-build, this gives 25% more damage anyways. So you would probably do an E-build that looks something like this. And then you can slow people on the path, and then you can deal the bonus damage along the way. So there's either way, there's a lot of different talents you can do. And if you complete this quest, you end up getting a really low cooldown with your E. So you actually get a... oh, did that not work? Oh, you hit the enemy hero and it lowers the cooldown. So you can use this pretty often. Is this the build, though? I don't think so. Maybe if you're going against a Garrosh or someone that you really can't get close to because of the way your kit works, you might want to just go like a variation of an E build. But we'll get to the talents later. So those are her abilities. Let's get into the talents, and I'll talk about her level 10s when we get to that talent. On Point makes it where you do 50% more damage when you hit an enemy at the end. There are a lot of talents that synergize with this at the end. For example, you can get increased damage at the end. You can get a lower cooldown at the end. So now you are hitting people, lowering your cooldown to 1 second, and then you can kind of try to make sure that you're always in that area. I feel like this works best if you can synergize it with something, or get really good at knowing the... For example, if you auto-attack someone, you're always in the range. So if you back up on each one and then you step up to auto-attack, you're always going to be in the range of this. And I think that's one of the easiest ways to do this, but it can be a little bit challenging if you toss a Q forward and then you end up moving this way. Now you have to toss back and then get back in there, and you might not be in range. So I like to always get into auto-attack range, and that seems to be pretty decent DPS. And there's a few other talents that synergize well with getting the lowered cooldown on your Q, as you could be doing percent health, you could be doing getting spell armor, and it's just a pretty neat synergize talent with these. Her next talent is Growing Nightmare. You do increased damage from the interruption. This one has to be buffed purely because if you're hitting people with the wave and you're going the Dread build, then you're going to be slowing them, and this one's just purely better. So this one will need a buff. Ancestral Strength. Non-heroic abilities deal 25% more damage to stunned, rooted, silenced, or slowed enemies, as well as they grant 1 additional chaos when hitting enemies. This is an amazing talent and will likely be the go-to in the majority of the builds. It is an extremely powerful talent because a lot of your abilities will do slows, or you could follow up with other slows, but they also grant that extra chaos. So if you're with someone who slows a lot, you're getting extra chaos, which means your next basic attacks are doing more damage. Again, whether you're going a physical damage build or you're going an E build, this should be the talent to get. Either way, it's so powerful. Now, if you're hitting people and you don't have a lot of slows, then On Point can still be the safest pick, as it's just extra damage on your bread and butter ability. But in this case, we're going to be picking up Ancestral Strength. And again, if you were to slow people with your wave and then the slow stacks, then you're going to be doing extra damage to all of your abilities, including your slow. We already talked about this talent, and the Backbiter is one of my favorite talents. It makes it to where when you chomp a hero, you go backwards. So I like it because if someone's diving on you, say for instance he's diving on you and you need to get away this direction, you can chomp and get away this direction. If he keeps diving you, you can use your E and keep moving back that direction. It is a really powerful tool for moving in and out, and it's got a little bit of a combo with it where you can Q into them, chomp out of them, and then Q one more time. And if you get the lowered cooldown on it, you can keep going back and forth forever. So there are some really interesting combos with sustained damage with Backbiter, but there are a lot of pretty good talents at this tier. I think Fright will likely have the highest win rate, as it makes it to where you can slow along the path and stack your slow if they stay in it, making it just a powerful tool for your team to follow up on, as it's a pretty easy ability to at least get the initial slow, but the final slow is really hard to get, so the initial slow will be really nice. Level 7, we have Insatiable, which makes it to where you hit someone with your chomp and the cooldown set to 2 seconds. I think this might see a little bit of a nerf, but I don't really want it to because I like the style of being able to move around a lot in fights, but it does make her a little bit too slippery. Ravenous Hunger is one of my favorite talents that I don't think is going to get nerfed, as it permanently increases the damage of your chomp, but you don't get the cooldown reduction. So you have a 10-second cooldown ability that can do a ton. For example, you just go up to a wave, you toss your E, and then you use your chomp, and you clear a bunch of minions. You can use your Q to finish off a couple, and boom, I have an extra 12 damage already. However, if I double soak lanes, because this is a level 7 talent, you can double soak lanes and stack this very quickly, and it increases even faster if you kill a hero. This also heals you for a decent amount. Say I took a lot of damage. Let me go over here, take a couple tower shots, and say I was rotating from lanes. I can go like this, I can chomp, boom, and I get a good chunk of healing plus the globe, and it is a really nice tool. And again, I'm at 24 damage now. If you were double soaking, getting 12 every time, you could stack up faster than an Azmodan, and it can get pretty scary. Now, it's a smaller ability, and you have to get a lot closer than an Azmodan, but still, it can be very bursty if you just kind of did this, walked in, did this, and then you're out. So I think that's a pretty powerful ability. And don't forget that if you do combo with someone who is slowing people, say for instance you could get the slow off first, and then you did your Q to get in, you did your W to get that 800 damage, and it stacks up, so you can get the extra 25% damage from this. So again, another really difficult combo to land, of getting the slow off, charging in, getting the bonus damage off, charging out. And this bonus damage, I've seen this in real games. I've stacked this up to where I got 500 extra damage, and so an ability that has 600, 500 extra damage is 1100 damage plus the 25%. You're looking at close to like 1400 damage. So I like the level 7 talent of Ravenous, and then you have a quest for your E that lowers the cooldown, the mana cost, as well as increases the damage of your E. All pretty good talents. Level 10, you have a variety of, you have 2 ultimate abilities. I'm going to start off by talking a little bit about Eternal Feast, which is an ult that makes it to where it deals damage after a little bit, and then it keeps going as long as there's an enemy still in this area. So if people walk away, it usually only gets, when I was watching it anyways, it really only got like 2 to 3 hits off before it was done. People recommend comboing this with a Leorix Entomb or an ECC's Mosh, but a lot of times if you're going to land an Entomb or a Mosh, your sustained and burst damage is likely going to get all the kills in those anyways, so you won't need this. The only time that I found this was really, really effective is on a map that you would fight over a boss for a long period of time, where the boss is about to die, and you'd send like 3 people to just sit on it for as long as possible, and you could have this fire off something like 9 to 15 times during one of those boss fights. But how often do you get one of those where it isn't just led by a Gust, a Lornado, or a Junkrat Mine, or anything like that? So it's pretty rare that this gets a lot of value, but it is still a pretty cool talent and it deals a decent amount. I think generally what we're going to be seeing is most of the time we're going to be seeing the Crushing Jaws, which is a 50-second cooldown that will pull people towards the middle and it will stun them. And it is just a really powerful thing that can work in any team comp, as well as it's nice to follow up a CC with it, or it's nice to set up for a fight if you know where people are going to be. I found a lot of times when people were running to the gate, I could just kind of set it like, let me toggle cooldowns for a second. I could just kind of set it like right here, and they almost didn't want to run into the gate. And if they did run into the gate, then our team could kind of blow them up right there in the middle. It's really cool to combo with Kerrigan, purely because you kind of scoop everyone together. Say even because it's got a long range too. So and there's ways to like catch up to them where you can use your Q on someone, bounce closer, and then you can use this. And then once they go to the middle, Kerrigan can pull them all into a stun right here outside of their gate. And I did that a few times. In fact, I was playing with a pro player when I was doing it. And it was a lot of fun. So that's something that you can definitely do. So those are her two ultimate abilities. I think Crushing Jaws is going to be picked probably like 90% of the time, with Internal Feast being only picked in wombo combos or being picked with like on maps that might have double bosses that might have a lot of fights on bosses. Then on to the level 13 talents. She has some pretty cool level 13 talents. One of my favorite ones is Invasive Miasma. You wait 2 seconds, and then you blow up and you deal a lot of damage and heal yourself for a lot. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take a lot of damage. I'm going to show you just about how much you can heal from this. So let me see if I can get out of here. Am I going to die here? Okay, no, I'm not. And I like it with the combo anyways, because say for instance, let me reset talents really quick, and let's go with slow, the backbiter. Let's go the Ravenous Hunger into. Let's go Crushing Jaws and the Invasive Miasma. So let me complete the quest and just get a little bit of damage. By level 13, you'll probably have maybe, I don't know. Let's just go up to 100 really quick. I want to show you how much damage you can really do with a very, very short combo. And let's do it on a single person. So say, for instance, you want to do this. You pop your Invasive Miasma by pressing your D. And then you're going to use your Q to get close to the enemy. You're going to use your W to get away from them, and one auto attack. And boom, there's a 2,000 damage combo that's very easy to do, and it heals you for a chunk of your health. If not, if there's a lot of frontliners on the enemy team, you can kind of do this, charge in. You can get a giant heal, giant damage, and get a lot of your chaos from that. So it's a really cool talent, one of my favorites. However, there are some other really great talents in there. Say you did get the W combo talents, and then you wanted to go for Chomp, gives you more chaos. That's also really cool because you can get this, and then you can Chomp, and boom, you get the full chaos, and you can kind of use your Q to get in, you can Chomp to get out, full chaos, and you don't need to hit more than one target. You can go in, auto attack, Chomp out, chaos, and it actually increases your physical damage quite a bit, but there's also another talent that increases your physical damage while giving you spell armor. So if you're going against a lot of mages, Determination makes it nice because you get spell armor and physical damage. If you're going against a lot of physical damage, Abyssal Symbiosis is nice because you can get your extra physical damage without needing to get that spell armor. Or if the spell armor, if they just have things that have like really fast spell damage that's really small, then also same deal. You don't want Determination. Level 16, we are seeing Shadow Waltz deals % damage. That's really nice against tanks, especially tanks like Garrosh. But also Dead Magic's also good against Garrosh because you attack people and they don't have armor. Either one of these technically removes armor, so because % health damage doesn't do armor, and this doesn't do armor. Now, I will say that Dead Magic is cool because it makes it to where your basic attacks that consume chaos ignore armor and deal extra damage to all enemies around it. So say for instance we pick this up and you Chomp, you back up, and boom, you're doing splash damage now. Now it's a pretty small splash, like it won't hit these guys because they're not close enough. But it is a pretty cool thing because you can just keep doing this extra spell damage every time. And it's really nice. So either way, Dead Magic is pretty interesting. But then you also have Lurking Terror. It makes it to where when you erupt, you can use your Chomp in any direction. So if you did get Ravenous Hunger, that's increasing your chomp damage, then you can use this to not only, let me reset the talents really quick. Let's go with just anything down here and then this. You can send off your E to a wave, and let's say I sent it off to like this wave right here. When this is done, I could chomp and I can get stacks. All right, so this allows you to safely clear a wave and get stacks from that wave, as well as it is an extra chomp for late game. So if you're ever fighting a bunch of enemies, you'll have your chomp that's going to do a lot of damage, and you'll also have the lurking terror, which will also do a chomp and do a lot of damage. So it's a pretty cool talent. 16 has a lot of really good talents. I played around with this one for a little bit, and I actually didn't like it as much as I thought I would. Because the chomp is kind of weird. Say, for instance, you send it into where the wave's surrounding you. There's no way to hit all of the minions of the wave. If it actually just chomped around in every direction of the wave, it would be so much better. But it is kind of strange. Either way, I like all of these talents. I think they all fit what you need in a game. You can either take down tanks very quickly, or you can just have extra damage with your passive. So either way, they're pretty good. Level 20, she has some really powerful upgrades. She has the Eternal Feast grants chaos and increases your attack speed. So every time that you're going to use this, you're going to be getting chaos, and you're going to be attacking much faster. So you're going to be doing that bonus physical damage. So if you ever needed that physical damage for a long fight, this would be really good. However, it is, again, a talent that's only going to get a little bit of value off of it. So I don't know if that's going to be the best one. On to the next level 20s. Let's talk about her other ult upgrade, which says it lowers armor and takedown set its cooldown to 5 seconds. So if you use this, everything that's in here is going to have lower armor for you to do your combos on and blow everything up. But then if there's a kill, it has a 5-second cooldown. So this is going to be great for reset compositions. And it's going to set up for reset compositions too. So in general, she will fit pretty well for that. Her other ultimates that you can get are all pretty cool. Let me just fill in anything for now. Consuming Chaos grants spell power, so you can keep getting spell power. If you combine that with Chaos gives basic, you get more Chaos with this, and the lowered cooldown from Insatiable, which I forgot to get. You can definitely be getting a lot of spell power from this. I'll give you a quick idea of it. You can Q in, move in, auto attack, do your W to move out, auto attack Q to move over, use your E to move over, and you can see I'm at their 30% already, and it's very easy to keep stacking up damage as well as keep getting all of the extra damage off. It's a pretty high DPS build that is really efficient, and it also heals you a lot because all the extra the build is reliant on that chaos. Finally, your last one is an activatable ability, and it's based for Q build, so I'm going to go into Q build for this. So we're going to just go the general Q build, and then this one makes it to where if you can reset your Q cooldown. So say, for instance, you miss your Q. You can reset your Q cooldown, and it makes it to where after you dash, it immediately goes on a cooldown. And it's a very, very powerful thing for getting a lot of DPS off. And I wasn't even getting a lot of the bonus hits. So if I was getting all the bonus hits as well, then it would be really powerful. Yeah, so it is a really, really cool build of just constantly getting a lot of damage off very quickly, as well as if you end up missing one, it gives you your reset as well as a bunch of hits off of it. So it's really nice because when you get here, not only can you do a lot of burst damage very quickly and move around really fast, but it's nice because if you end up missing a Q in the middle of a fight, you don't need to wait out your cooldown. You just pretty much go straight into the fight and just start blowing people up. And it is really, really nice. So that's why I really like that talent. But in general, it's all of her level 20 talents are very, very good. Either way, this is Orphea. Once again, she is a short range, high survivability, high mobility hero that is very high skill cap but decent skill floor. If you're playing against a good one, it's going to feel like you're facing a Samuro that's constantly moving around the fight very quickly, or like a Tracer that's constantly moving around the fight very quickly. However, if you're playing against an average one, and she's not going to feel too much different from anything else. I don't think she's going to feel too OP until you start going against a very good one. And in that sense, you should also be, if you're playing against a Grandmaster Orphea, you're probably going to also be playing with a Grandmaster Diablo or Garrosh, who are both very strong counters to her. purely because she gets close to the tank, and the tank can flip her and blow her up very, very quickly. She's pretty tanky. She has a decent amount of healing, so I could definitely see her being in the solo lane. But I will say that if you only have to pay attention to one of her abilities, it's very easy to keep dodging her Q, meaning that her in the solo lane is going to be hard to get your Qs off repeatedly, as people can move around and you could be missing your Qs very easily. So while she could go in the solo lane, I think mostly she's going to stay in the 4-man, and she's going to really thrive on maps that require like slower or long fights. Things like Volskaya, where you might be fighting for a while, Braxis, where you might be fighting for a while. She fits in, I would say, almost every team comp, purely because she can help with sustained damage. She does have a bursty build, as well as she has a safer build. She does physical damage and magic damage, so even against teams that do a lot of spell armor, she can just change her build around to do a little bit more physical. So she fits into everything. She's a little bit of a jack of all trades, but she's not necessarily OP at anything. There's her benefits come with cons. Now, her numbers might be overtuned right now, so we may see a pretty high win rate when she first comes out, but it seems like it's a very easy hero to just simply drop down some numbers and balance her very easily, purely because she doesn't have a lot of CC. It's mainly just sustained damage, mobility, and healing. So I am really excited for this hero. I'm going to pick her up immediately. Well, actually, yeah. But I do think she's a hero that I really want to play a lot, just because she is actually really fun. Her abilities are very satisfying, and just being able to move around, and it feels really good if you can get one of these combos down, like what I was saying, the Ancestral into Backbiter into Insatiable, where you can kind of Q into something, use your W to get out of something, auto attack always getting your stuff, and again, this combo feels really, really good to play. So it's and it's just really safe. A lot of damage, a lot of burst. If you want to like slow someone, boom! Look at that burst. It's crazy. So she's really, really fun to play. I hope you guys enjoy her, and I will be doing a gameplay video for her later. I don't know exactly when. Probably in a couple days. My goal is to probably get it out like tomorrow or the next day, but we will see. I'm gonna try to play a few games with her on the PTR and play her, and we will see Orphea on Tuesday, not tomorrow, Tuesday, but Tuesday next week, and she will be live. She is 15,000 gold, and if you have a BlizzCon ticket or a BlizzCon virtual ticket, you'll be getting her for free along with some of her skins. One more thing before I go that I thought was interesting is when you went into try mode, I had a different mount. I'm wondering if there's a way to test out mounts in try mode now. I will check this out, and I will maybe do a short video about some things that have been added to the PTR. Anywho, thank you all for watching. Feel free to check out any of my other videos, and as always, I always appreciate subscribes. Thank you.